On today's show, the LA Clippers have entered the Kevin Durant sweepstakes, or so has been reported. What does it mean? What's the likelihood of the Clippers actually making a move for KD? Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team, every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and just finished my 20th season as a Clipper fan. Been covering the team for 5 years on my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, and 3 years right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today, we're going to be talking about the Kevin Durant sweepstakes, or really just because the Clippers named, or the Clippers as a team have been thrown in some articles that I've seen recently. So we're going to be discussing that. And before we do that, this episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. All right. So first, I'm going to be telling you about what I think of the KD move potentially for us, and how he would fit, what would need to happen to make it happen. And then we're going to talk about the players that would likely be involved, and then the likelihood of it actually happening. So let's begin with my first reaction. No, 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 no. Now, again, I'm going to have to preface this because this video is going to probably attract a swarm of KD fanboys. And here's what I have to say about Kevin. One of the best players I've ever seen in my life. I remember his first game against the Denver Nuggets in 2007. He is, for me, top 3 score. For sure, top 5. I still got to watch more guys thoroughly if we're going to talk about all time. But for me, anywhere between 3rd to 5th best scorer of all time. Everybody knows for me, I got Mike and Kobe 1 and 2. But Kevin Durant is in that conversation. And any person that is in that conversation, not for me to be the greatest, but like in the top 5 scorers ever, whether it be whoever you include, Kareem, Wilt, LeBron, Shaq, Carmelo, obviously Kobe and Mike. You know, forgive me if I'm forgetting any names. You know, obviously certain guys in their prime, McGrady, Shaq, James Harden. So there's a bunch of guys in those conversations, but I would put KD in my top 5 pretty easily. So that tells you, especially people that have listened to this show, when I talk history, I have a lot of respect for Kevin Durant. If you look at what he is now, because we can talk about his career all day long, but what he's done recently is what matters, and he's still damn good. He's been an all-star honestly, he's been an all-star every single season of his career that he's been healthy, since from 09-10 all the way to this past season. Obviously, he didn't make it in 2020 because he was injured with the torn Achilles. But this past season, he shot 53, 43, 84 splits. Now, the free throws down a little bit from his other years. He's usually a, 87% or above kind of guy, but this year was 84%, and that definitely hurt the Suns in some games. I say that as somebody who watched a lot of them. But 53, 43, 84 splits, averaging 27, 6, and 4, and being the best player on your team by far at the age of 36. And the Suns were 33-29 with Kevin Durant and 3-17 without him. To me, I haven't done a ranking officially. He's not a top 5 player anymore, not for me at all. But he's definitely still in the top 10 conversation in the league. However, what's happened with the Suns and what's happened with the Nets should show you that just putting Kevin Durant with certain guys does not guarantee anything. For one, he is on the older side. He missed 20 games last season, which is not a big deal. This previous season, he missed only 7. But if you go to 2023, he played a total of 47. 2022, a total of 55. And then before that, 35. So even though he's been healthier the last 2 years, who's to say he's not due for another big injury at age 37? I mean, the guy is unbelievable. The fact that he came back from the Achilles like that is amazing. But my point is, Bringing in Kevin Durant, it's there's a lot of things to it, a lot of layers to it. For one, we're a super team again. We have an upgraded Paul George now. You know what I'm saying? We have a guy now that's as good as Kawhi Leonard or better. And then that becomes a conversation. Whose team is it? Now, a lot of people will say that stuff is overstated. The players don't care. It's not about the players beefing. That's what a lot of people don't understand. It's about the natural pecking order in your offense. And when things go a certain way, everyone always says, well, we'll just go with the game flow. Sometimes two guys are playing well and you got to make decisions. I kind of like a pecking order offensively, especially when you play a stagnant, isolation-heavy system like the teams that Kawhi and Kevin Durant have been on in recent years. So, like right now with the Suns, it doesn't always feel like it's KD's team. There were so many times I saw KD stands on Twitter complaining about he's not getting enough shots up. The offense doesn't look to get him the ball. It's like we're talking about the greatest or top 5 scorer ever like that. And you know who else we say that stuff about? Kawhi Leonard. So it's putting two guys together where it's kind of, again, it just feels like a supersized Paul George in the sense that we have another player who's great from 3 levels. I mean, in Paul George's case, he's good from 3 levels. Kevin Durant is actually great. So we have a guy who's great from 3 levels, another guy who can score, one of the best players in the world. It kind of helps our power forward thing because KD has played power forward. But I watched Suns games, man. He didn't rebound enough. He's not always willing to get physical as that low man on the block and contest properly because he does have a lot to do offensively. So we typically want a guy to fill that power forward spot that's a role player. That's not going to have to do stuff offensively to be too tired and bang and grind and do all the little dirty work that, you know, is what you need from a championship contending team's role players. Kevin Durant, I'm not saying he doesn't do that dirty work. I think in terms of effort level as a star, he brings it pretty much every night. I just think fit matters, and there's no doubt that Kevin Durant, let's say we don't give up Harden, Zoo, or Kawhi. This makes us a better team. It puts us in a championship discussion. I just the way I felt about James Harden, I don't think it's going to work out for KD to win another ring. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think you're doubling down on old. You're doubling down on, you know, Kawhi having a 1A, 1B, except this guy's a lot more qualified for that. The whose team is it discussion. You know, it's just a lot of cooks in the kitchen. And then you're getting Kevin Durant's contract, which, I mean, let me take a look at it because I haven't seen it in a while. But, and you know, everyone's going to say, like, Darian, could we get that satisfy you? Because it seems like you don't like anybody that we get. Why are we getting superstars of the 2010s that are still good? We need younger blood. We're too old. People, I'm going to say it again. I said it with I said Harden's never going to win a ring, and I stand by that 10 toes down. So I'm not wavering on that. And I haven't had any evidence to prove otherwise. Everyone's like, you should admit you were wrong about Harden and this and that. I never denied that it would make us a better team. I said we wouldn't win a ring and that giving up assets to do so is not what I wanted when Kawhi Leonard hadn't proven he could stay healthy. So thankfully for Kawhi Leonard, James Harden helped him get an opportunity to be healthy in front of Clipper fans this past year because Harden carried the load in the regular season, and we still lost in the first round. So what is all this stuff? It's a refusal by Steve Ballmer to be bad, but we also don't have means to be bad because Kawhi blackmailed us into trading everything for a second star, or should I say blackmailed us into trying to get a second star for him. And you can blame Lawrence Frank all you want. He caved. He should have maybe called Kawhi's bluff. I don't know. At the time, I didn't think Kawhi was bluffing, but I'm also not in the meetings. So we're in a bad spot. So any move to try to get Kevin Durant, and by the way, where is this coming from? Well, there was an article. Well, actually, it was our friend Matt Moore over at Locked On Nuggets said that the Clippers have called the Suns about Durant. So this is all Matt Moore's source. And then our good friend Law Murray, said that the Clippers' interest in Drew Holiday was overstated. They're looking for bigger fish to fry, though I think a deal ultimately is unlikely. So I think bigger fish to fry would be someone like a Kevin Durant, but it's not going to happen, I don't think, because they're going to need. Let's look at the contract. Right now, Kevin Durant is making $51 million. Next year, he's going to make $54 million. So people are saying, oh, Bogey and Norm's contracts would do it. Do you know math? Because that's like, we're still like $15 million short right there. And if you think the Suns are going to trade Kevin Durant for Norm and Bogey, you're absolutely out of your mind. So coming up, so first off, I'm good on KD. It's not that I don't think he's amazing. It's not that I don't think he can help. It's that we're going to have to give up stuff that's going to hurt us long term for a short term gain that's not going to result in a championship. And I know everyone's like, how do you know? I was right about James Harden and Russell Westbrook not taking us to the promised land. And I bet you I'll be right about Kevin Durant if we do it too. And it's another guy, by the way, if you're looking at his Twitter activity on Tuesday, he's just constantly talking about his individual accolades, his it's a team sport. You know, you got to ask my teammates. Like, it's all deflecting blame. It's just too much of this excuse-making stuff. I'm just tired of that. And a star who has no team loyalty at all. I don't think anybody in the modern generation has gone out publicly and been like, yeah, I don't care about a team. He hates the GMs. He bounces from place to place and then it goes badly. We don't need that. We don't need that at all. Like, if this is a Kawhi team, let's leave it as Kawhi's team and get supporting pieces around him. The 3-star thing has not worked recently. The whole big three thing has not been working recently the last 5 years in this new CBA era. So let's stay away and not make a rash decision to try to just get another big name through the door. Because I guarantee you we'll make the second round if we get KD. I promise you we'll win a series. But if you're willing to just win one series and throw away more long-term when we already have a bleak future, then by all means, let's run this franchise to the ground for big names just to compete in the short term. And again, support Kawhi Leonard, who quite frankly is a ticking time bomb injury-wise anyway. So I would much rather do other things, but I'll tell you part of why I'm so anti this, because I know there's one name that's going to have to be moved to get Kevin Durant, in my opinion, and I'm going to tell you why I disagree that we should do that completely. I got to tell you a little something about DoorDash. You see, DoorDash was really there for me when I lost my home. I had to order out all the time. I didn't have to, but I did. NBA fans, you know what time it is. Final season means big performances and even bigger rewards, and DoorDash is bringing the heat with the slam dunk deal for Dash Pass members throughout the playoffs and the finals. It's called They Swoosh, You Score. Anytime a player drops 50 plus in a playoff game, Dash Pass members score a free 3-piece crispy tenders combo from Wingstop the very next day. Just place an order of $20 or more, use the code Wingstop50 at checkout, and that combo is yours. Crispy, delicious, and totally free. Offer valid noon to midnight the day after the game. Terms apply. So here's the play. Sign up for Dash Pass to unlock this and more exclusive deals all season long. When any player scores 50 plus in a playoff game, Dash Pass members can grab a free 3-piece crispy tenders combo from Wingstop the next day with a $20 plus order and code Wingstop50. That's Dash Pass, your door to more savings, more flavor, and more ways to win. Terms apply. All right, talking about the Clippers being rumored in potential Kevin Durant conversations, let me just say this about the Suns too. I watched a lot of their games after the season ended just to go back and see. And yes, Kevin Durant deserves the least amount of blame by far. I mean, he performed well almost every night. They were 3-17 without him. There's a lot of context as to why the Suns didn't make the play-in. They had no competent bigs. I mean, they had literally Mason Plumlee closing games. And if there's any fan base that knows in recent times that that's a problem, it's us. Yusuf Nurkic was a disaster. Grayson Allen regressed from 3 as opposed to, the previous season where he led the league in 3-point percentage. Beal was Beal, which is a role player now. He's not a star anymore. And it's 3 guys that have a lot of the similar shot profile. They're not elite defenders. Devin Booker was having an off year more than anything. And then Beal was in trade talks and got benched or moved to the bench. And it was just a very weird season where they just didn't have wings that could guard. They didn't have bigs. They just had some bucket getters. And KD doesn't consistently get 2 feet in the paint enough. And that's a problem with what team? What team's best player? Ours. So bringing in another guy, again, it's the same flaws of Paul George, except he's a much more efficient version. So he's not getting the 2 feet in the paint the same amount. So we're not generating a ton of easy baskets. He doesn't really get to the free throw line that same amount. If you look at this year, KD shot 6 free throws a game. Last year, 6 free throws a game. And then 2023, 7. And then before that, 7. I mean, he hasn't shot more than 9 free throws a game since 2014, his MVP season. So it's just a difference in, how much he can get in the paint, maybe his first step. Of course, this is a guy that did tear his Achilles. And I also think he doesn't engage in physical contact as much the same way he used to. He doesn't love posting up, even though he has such a good post game. It's a lot of the same stuff I always said about Paul George, but again, a supersized version. And again, I feel bad comparing Kevin and Paul George in any way. I just think that Paul George on his good days has a lot of KD tendencies. But here's what I think. Kevin Durant is not exempt of blame. We have a leadership problem with the Clippers. And everywhere Kevin Durant goes, there seems to be a leadership problem. And then he says, what's a leader? I mean, people don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So again, I think Kevin Durant's like a lead by example. Like, come in, I work out full speed. I've heard about KD's work ethic and workouts and how it's like unmatched. I can see his commitment to his craft. I'm never going to deny his work ethic. Just the same way I'm never going to deny Kawhi's work ethic. But I don't feel as though that in terms of superstars, Kawhi Leonard and James Harden actually does a decent job of this. Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant embrace the responsibility that comes with being the face of a franchise. I think they just think they're a paid employee. Doesn't matter that they get paid the most. They clock in, they clock out, they do their job. You can see it in their work with their stats, and that's about it. They're not responsible for anybody else. They're not responsible for trying to elevate other guys. You know, getting good shots is one thing, but I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. But I can tell you what I know. It doesn't seem like anybody seems to have their best years with Kevin. It doesn't seem like it. Nobody seems to have their best years with this guy. He doesn't galvanize. He's not that kind of raw leader. He actively talks about how, you know, he's more of a chill guy, and that's his personality. And I'm not saying he can't get animated at times. I'm not saying he can't be vocal at times. And I'm not saying that he's not a leader in any way. But again, it's this conversation that we've been having with Kawhi and this Clipper team and all that. So we don't need more of that. We don't. And especially this reason. So Zach Lowe also talked about it. And he said he thinks the Clippers will get involved. This is not him saying that they have gotten involved. He thinks the Clippers will get involved. But he said that the point where he thinks the trade talks will break down is that the Phoenix Suns are going to want Zoo. They've been in need of a center since they got rid of Ayton, and they're going to want Zoo. And the Clippers are going to be like, what? We're not going to trade Zoo. He's not even 30. He's on one of the best contracts in the NBA. We are not about to trade him. And I wouldn't trade him either. Now, I know what some people are saying. You wouldn't trade Zoo for Kevin Durant? You're an idiot. Fit matters. If we trade Zoo, and it's already been hard enough to get a backup center. You think we're going to get a good center? We don't need another guy that can score from 3 levels and is a bucket in isolation. I mean, we could, but not at the expense of certain other things. We need a backup center, and we need a proper 4, a role-playing 4, like a John Collins or maybe a Bobby Portis. Okay, we don't need more old dudes that play in half court. We don't. You know what? Again, you guys want KD? Fine. I will promise you, I'll bet you any amount of money we're losing in the second round of the conference finals. And you can, here's my thing. Only one team wins a championship, and you should always try to make your team better. But if you can win a championship or have a window to do that maybe in 10 years, and you're sacrificing that 10-year window for right now to just because, and knowing you're probably going to flame out in the second or third round, but you're willing to do that to sacrifice a potential championship window in the next 7 years or whatever, I think that's just bad business. I think that's just a bad franchise decision making. If you know that, see, the problem is these guys don't know. They think that we still have a chance and stuff. I don't. And I'm not going to say because I'm a Clipper fan or getting paid to do this job that I'm going to disagree with my basketball beliefs. This is a religion to me. It's not just a game and entertainment that, I'll just be delusional or I'm a fan of, where just because I support a team and I bleed the colors of the Clippers, that I'm just gonna say, oh, I mean, we have a chance. Yeah, I'm a Clipper fan, so of course we do. No, that's not how I view the game, because I view the game from a different lens than just a fan. I coached, I played, I analyzed the game because it's hard to win rings. Look at the teams that have won rings recently. Look at the teams in the finals right now. They made a trade for Siakam, but all these guys are, and for Halliburton, but they've developed these guys to a large degree. Miles Turner's been a Pacer forever. Andrew Nembhard was drafted by them. They let Aaron Nesmith come as an outcast from Boston and get those minutes. Tyrese Halliburton was traded away from Sacramento and got his own franchise. The Thunder, we built their team, but SGA has gotten to grow there. It's like a homegrown thing, Chet and J-Dub. The Denver Nuggets, their core, homegrown, MPJ, Jokic, and Murray, then 1 or 2 trades to help get those role players for them. 2024 Celtics, their whole duo is homegrown with the Jays. I saw them from the beginning. 2022 Golden State Warriors, that core is homegrown. Jordan Poole was drafted by them. 2021, the Bucks, they got Drew Holiday to get him over the hump, but Middleton and Giannis, how many years in trials and tribulations did they go through? Us bringing in KD, just bringing in another guy that goes from team to team, it's just going to be another failed super team. It gets a lot of eyes. We might do a little better. We're going to have moments where we look insane and unstoppable, and then we're going to flame out in the playoffs because these guys are old and not the best fit for one another. And we're going to get beat by a team that developed the right way. And I'm not saying a team that's a bunch of transplants can't beat a team with homegrown or whatever, but the journey, I think, does affect what your product is eventually. And the things you've gone through together and the continuity of it all, and then filling in the right pieces matters. Kevin Durant is awesome. I think he'd make us better, but what we'd have to give up to get an improvement that's not going to result in my opinion, anything too significant is not worth it. I said the same about Harden. You could say I was wrong about that. We literally haven't made it past the first round with the guy, and we've given up first round picks. So say what you want. You can debate it all you want. I'm just done with the whole, like, let's just try to get the biggest name possible thing because we, like, are the Clippers and we never used to do that. Like, I just don't think that's going to result in a championship for us, and that's my authentic opinion as a fan. I don't hate Kevin Durant. I actively love watching him play, but I just don't agree with a lot of the way he goes about things. It's never his fault. It's never his fault, you know? So there's no coincidence that they have, none of his teams have made it. There's context, but there's no coincidence. There is definitely context. But there's no coincidence that no team that he's been on after Golden State has made it out of the second round. And coming up, going to talk about the likelihood of any of this actually happening. I got to tell you a little something about Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. All right. So overall, the likelihood of this trade happening isn't high, in my opinion. There's no way that the Suns are just going to want these like role players because they're not going to get rid of Booker. I think they want to keep Booker for the long haul, have him retire a son if they can and all that. So they still want to build a competitive team. I just think they realize that they can't get away from that unless they give up KD because nobody wants Beal's contract. So they acknowledge that they made a mistake there. And with the way Phoenix media has been with KD, and KD is just, it's always some media that's pissing him off, but Suns media, and they tried to trade him at one point of the season, even though he was kind of trying to stick it out with his team, which I do admire. And then he got injured at the end. They might have still snuck into the play-in. I would have, everybody knows I can't stand the Phoenix Suns as a Clipper fan because by the way, and I want to acknowledge this before any KD fans or Stan boys come and say this. I am aware that Kevin Durant is one of only two players to beat us in the playoffs 3 times in NBA history. The other one is Boris Diaw. Kevin Durant has done it with 3 different teams: 2014 Thunder, 2019 Warriors, and 2023 Suns. And in all those moments, I've acknowledged how great the guy is. I mean, I sometimes just laugh watching him play at how amazing what he does is. There are all these KD wannabes in the league now, the disciples of KD, these tall, lanky face-up players, and nobody moves with the fluidity and can shoot the ball and handle the ball the way Kevin does. He is a one of one. If I ever have kids, I will tell my kids about him. I'll tell generations about him. I just don't view him as highly on an all-time scale as a lot of modern fans. I do think, though, KD's move to Golden State said a lot about his competitive nature, and I don't think he's done anything to back up that I'm wrong about that in any way. So for the people that think that was a soft move, I mean, I'm with you. He's had super team after super team and it's failed. I mean, when he went to Brooklyn, it was Harden, Kyrie, and KD, and it all imploded for a lot of reasons, but it imploded. And then you had the team with Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker. He came to second round flameout. So It was disappointing, to say the least. It's been a disappointing stop from everywhere besides Golden State. So, after Golden State, I should say. So I don't want to be added to that list at all. And I just don't think it's a very likely possibility because the Suns aren't going to take that chump change. No offense to Norman Powell and Bogey, but for Kevin Durant, that's chump change. And we're not going to trade Zoo, I don't think. It would be such a huge mistake to trade Zoo because he could be part of the post-Kawhi era. And if we want flexibility for 2026 and 2027, then we cannot budge on this. We cannot budge on this, and I don't see a likelihood of this happening. But when we look at our books, Kawhi Leonard is on there till 2027. So this is hypothetically the second to last year of that experience. 2026 offseason and 2027 offseason, very important. I don't think we need to double down with KD and his contract. By the way, I should mention that he's under contract till next year, so he's on expiring, which might make them take the swing. That's the thing. But if it comes at the expense of Zoo, hell no. And if it comes at the expense of losing like 2 bench scorers in like Norm and Bogey, and we lose a Derek Jones, like the thing that happens is even if you bring in KD, one injury to Kawhi, we're not a championship team or even a contender anymore. We're just good. And we don't need to do that. We don't need to. If the plan is to just stay competitive because we don't want to be a tanking team, we don't need to take huge swings like that. So yes, I think a few moves away didn't mean trade crucial parts of your identity for Kevin Durant. That's my opinion. I'm going to get a lot of disagreement in these comments. We're going to say I'm a hater of this and the other guy. It's like, I don't really care. Out with the old, in with the new. I'm trying to support the younger generation of stars, and we need that for the next generation. This is the Kawhi era. We don't need the Kawhi, KD, Harden, the big three again. It's just, I can't do that. I can't do it. The super teams have not won in how long? When was the last time we had a super team win? A team of stars coming together like that and won a ring? I guess the Warriors. But 3 of them were homegrown. KD was the only one that joined. Guess the Cavs, 2016. All 3 of those guys came. Well, actually, no. 2 of them came. LeBron and Kevin Love, but Kyrie was already there. So I guess that. So you kind of have to go back. But anyway. All right. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, NBA, and LA sports content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. You'll be covered for all things offseason for the LA Clippers. Make sure you subscribe for all things clips. And of course, if you can't listen on video or watch on video, listen wherever you get your podcasts. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers. And let me know what you think in the comments.